This is the Frank and Friends show. Hi there, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady. It's me.
You're not on Zoom. You're in
real.
person. Oh, I hate the Zoom so much. But I love that you're here. Thank you so much for coming. And it's good to see you. It's been a hot minute, which is strange because we literally now work at the same company. You are my boss, and I talk to you all the time. But as I just mentioned, I don't see you in real life that much.
True. Yeah.
Because why bother? We work remotely. You work from your house. I work from my house.
Yeah. No, I know. We should have an office. Do you think we'd get anything done?
Point taken. We would just sit around gossiping. That's all we would do. We would talk about, oh, have you heard about so-and-so?
Are you going to this event? Are you going to that event?
That literally is what it would be. It would be the gossip. Oh my gosh. Yes.
We just hang out at the water cooler.
What do you call it? You spill the tea?
Spill the tea.
Is that what it's called?
That's what it is called.
Well, we're delighted that you're here. We're delighted that you're watching. We're delighted that you might buy a piece of our Frank and Friends show merchandise, like the mug, like the pint glasses, which are delicious.
I like the pint glasses a lot. And also, it's still warm outside, so you might still need a beach towel.
Right. And in the winter, you need a bath towel, so they're the same. You can just get that. And actually, I need to take this with me to the Tennessee Valley Fair. Last year, I used it as a banner.
Oh,
When
nice.
Becca and I were there for the food competitions, I hung this up behind us because, I don't have banners. I don't have, like at radio stations, we would have...
Like those vinyl banners with the
we would get
logo.
even cheaper than that. We would get
Okay.
just this roll of banner of like 1,000 or maybe 500 on a roll, and you would just peel some off and they're perforated. And then you would tape them up. You see them at car dealerships all the time.
Yeah.
You see, how can that radio station afford to put 20 banners on the fence? And they don't care. Then they stay there. The idea is they leave them there until somebody else tears them down.
That is smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
So anyway, speaking of Tennessee Valley Fair, Becca and I were invited back. If you can believe that.
Of course I can.
Chef Rachel Reagan sent us, and she's pretty smart. I noticed this. It was divide and conquer. So I thought she was just contacting me to see if I could get Becca. But then I get a text from Becca. Hey, Rachel Reagan's asking us to. That's
good.
She's asking me to do the fair. Did she ask you also? I'm like,
good.
yes, she asked me. Did she ask you? Did she ask me? The same thing.
That's wonderful.
In fact, I wonder. I don't know if they need any judges, but I thought, I could get Frady in there as a judge. But then I thought, how rude. I mean, how rude of it, because, hey, would you like to come and eat some of the most deliciously disgusting, fattening fried foods you've ever had in your life?
Yeah.
And you're forced to taste all of them.
I'll pass on that.
And and Becca was kind of bummed because she'd been a judge of these events previously, as I was the first year too. And I'm convincing Becca, I say, no, you don't want to be a judge. She's like, why not? Get to eat all the food. I'm like, you have to eat all the food. You want to be an MC, we'll co-MC it.
And you can still have some of the food.
You look at the ones that you look at that you don't like, you just let them keep going.
Right.
And the ones that you can't resist, well, then you help
Take
yourself.
those.
Yeah, so it's a sweet deal,
Yeah.
actually. And that's where I met Ricky the Dragon Steamboat last year.
Oh, okay.
And the guys at PBS were so excited when I invited Ricky the Dragon Steamboat to be on my PBS talk show. And it's not going to be on until the end of August. It's going to be on TV on the night of August 27th, which is midnight, the morning of August 28th. Mm-hmm. But they were so excited, and granted, maybe they've got their vacation plans, this is what the real reason was, but I thought they were just so excited that they went ahead and edited it and posted it online 2 weeks early.
Nice. That's amazing.
So I think Ricky might be coming back to the fair.
Oh, well, that's great.
So if you want to...
What is Ricky the Dragon who's it?
Oh, well, point taken. But I invite you, maybe challenge you, I invite you to watch the interview.
Okay.
And if you don't, at the end of that interview, come out loving him and thinking, oh, wow, professional wrestling sounds kind of cool, that I will be surprised, because he's that much of a salesman and a spokesperson for it. And, he's describing this WrestleMania match, and he's doing his impersonation of Macho Man Savage. And he's like, they're preparing the choreography for the match.
Yeah.
And he's doing an impersonation of Macho Man saying, write it down, Steamboat, write it down. Ricky talks like a normal person, but when he clicks into wrestling voice to impersonate Macho Man.
Sure.
That's my favorite part of the whole interview, so be sure you watch that.
I will.
And I'll put the link in the description in case you're not in the East Tennessee PBS area and you'd like to watch it. So what have you been up to? Since last time you were here, I think we didn't even record an episode. We had a pool party.
We had a pool party. We did a lot together, actually. We just didn't record any of it.
Well, I'm on your dime. I mean, technically, I'm working for you, so it's not like I can say, oh, stop, boss. I'm going to make one of my shows now. My job is to help.
Just bring the camera on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we also went to, like, the 4th of July festival.
Oh, that's true. We should talk about that.
Yeah.
Because we had a full June with 5 performances of Marble City Opera. And, I'm still new to the company, so I'm, ready. I really don't. In many situations, the only thing I can do is wait until you tell me exactly what to do.
Sure.
Because it's my first time loading out an opera.
Right.
How would I know?
Sure.
You say, carry that, put that in the truck, do that. And I'm like, okay, that's reasonable. But you're right, at the end of that June, we were kind of wiped and kind of exhausted. Plus, as you remember, Artie Rocket showed up on June 19th, and not only did he come to the dress rehearsal for Il Tabarro,
he came to all of the opera
but he came to both performances to the point where you would think by the third time it would be some of the novelty might have worn off.
Yeah.
He was more engrossed in it the third time because he knew it was going to happen, but also it was in 2 different locations, right? So now he's seeing it in a different place, and some of the things are switched around, and the other people in the audience are looking at him like, who is this 10-year-old who's really into opera and is able to tell us what is happening in the story?
That's awesome. Yeah, he was so great. And he actually helped set up some of the props and everything beforehand.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he really did. Because we had, those cubes that were then covered with different fabrics and this and that. And he was going around and making sure that they were all organized and covered. It was very cute.
Oh, that's because all he really wanted to do was have a water gun fight with you and your husband and the rest of the cast.
Which we did do that too.
Yeah, he kept saying at the end, when can we have the water gun fight? When can we? I'm like, you can't have one on the final night of the show, because really this is it. We're just closing up shop. We're going to Calhoun's for dinner, and then we're done.
Yeah. Well, that was my mistake because I brought the water guns to that rehearsrsal. He was there.
And he thought that was part of the show.
Yeah. Well, it was for us.
Yeah. Well, they had a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun shooting each other with water guns. And now, in this particular Tabarro, Il Tabarro, which was by Puccini, your character, as far as we know, survives. But it's the implication at the very end is the music stops, and it looked like your character's husband was about to kill you right as the music stops.
Yeah, it was a choice that, our stage director, Maria Berry, decided to make, because it is a little bit ambiguous. I mean,
on purpose?
A little bit on purpose. There's different ways you could end it. The character who's playing my husband, he could walk off and leave. In some productions, he leaves. Because
he's just killed your love interest.
Yes.
You're about to go cheat on your husband with this tenor, but the husband kills the tenor so that,
Yes. Well, I think we've been fooling around the whole time is the real deal. He knows, and that's what his whole aria is about, is that he knows that my character has been cheating on him, but he just doesn't know with who.
There's 3 guys on the boat, 3 of his employees on the boat, and it could be any one of the 3.
Yes. Or any of the other guys. There are a lot of employees.
Oh, and they all have eyes for Kathryn's character. So I was ready to see that, Georgietta, Il Tabarro, and then the spoiler, of course, would be she dies, like every other opera. Like you're singing Tosca, and you sing all of them.
Yeah, which is why I think that you need this T-shirt.
The opera spoiler T-shirt. Tosca, she dies. La Traviata, she dies. Madame Butterfly, Carmen, Aida, she dies. Turandot, Lucia de Lammermoor, Tristan and Isolde, Otello, she dies, she dies, she dies.
She dies.
How do you say Turandot? I've heard Turandot and Turandot, depending on...
it's a matter of choice.
Oh, okay.
I think some people really think it's Turandot, and other people really think it's Turandot. So I think say what you want.
All right. Well, fair enough. Well, thank you for the shirt. I've almost lost enough weight to wear it.
You're welcome. I think that's perfect.
A couple more pounds, I might be able to squeeze into that one. My wife yelled at me the other day. She says, when do you eat? I'm like, I'm trying to skip some meals. She's like,
don't skip meals, because then you'll eat more on the next one.
Yes, exactly. Well, after the month of opera, we did before, because then you had to go traveling. You had to go. Your husband got a job out of town,
Florida, yeah.
so he's got to go get settled in over there. You're moving furniture from this point to this point to that point, and doing all this personal business. So I didn't see you for a long time, except on the Zoom.
Right.
But right before you headed out of town was the 4th of July. You mentioned that we all went together to the City of Knoxville's festival on the 4th,
Yeah.
which is something my wife and I do almost every year.
But I think part of that was because Artie was also like, when am I going to see
Fireworks.
Kathryn again?
Oh, Kathryn, that's true. He really
You
was
know?
more interested in you than the fireworks.
Because I think I said to him during the opera, like, oh, well, don't worry, you're going to be here for a while. I'm sure I'll see you. And so then he was like, well, when am I seeing Kathryn again? When am I seeing Kathryn again? And you had told me this. So that did, twist my arm a little bit
good,
to
good.
go to the 4th of July.
Because you hadn't been before.
I'd never been. I had always kind of wanted to go, but they normally do fireworks out at our condo.
Yeah.
Because it's on the golf course, and the country club out there would do fireworks on the 4th of July, and we would go out there for free, and why not? You don't have
Yeah.
to drive anywhere, worry about parking or any of the things.
But they had those on the 3rd of July this year.
Yeah.
I think last year too, maybe?
Yeah, last year we missed them completely because we didn't get the memo. And I think we were actually driving in on the 4th.
Okay.
From out of town.
So
And
last year, so you missed them. But,
so we missed
but this
them.
year, you all of a sudden they're shooting them off outside your house on the 3rd
On
of
the
July,
3rd, yeah.
and you were a little surprised.
Yeah.
Well, Artie, we had taken Artie down to Lenore City to see the Rockin' on the Docks fireworks that our buddy Daryl down at WFIV, his station, is the media sponsor. So I thought, oh, good, maybe I'll go see Daryl, do a little schmoozing with him. Even though I work for a competing radio station, it doesn't seem to bother him in any way.
Good.
And I like him. He's a tremendously nice guy. But we're trying to get to these fireworks, and we didn't. Granted, last time I went to this event in Lenore City, I was working for the sponsoring radio station. This is 20 years ago.
Wow.
And we had to be there so early that we get, the best parking space because we're like the first ones
Sure.
there, and we're the last ones to leave. So it feels like there's no
You don't
traffic.
worry about it.
It's just you're there all day.
Right.
Well, this one we have Artie, we have Jere, we get down there, and it's a mob scene already. We can't get a parking place anywhere near the event, and they charge for parking apparently. I didn't know that.
Oh.
So all of these things for this otherwise free event are happening, and then we see there's a Calhoun's, the Lenore City Calhoun's, and we're like, let's just go over there.
Nice.
And they're like, well, this is for customers only. I'm like, well, I guess we're
We'll
going
be
to dinner.
customers.
So we had dinner at Calhoun's. And then afterward, we sat outside, went outside to the grassy area near Calhoun's, and we watched the fireworks from a little more of a distance.
Okay.
And then we got out of there. We hightailed it out of Dodge. So technically,
Nice.
Artie saw fireworks, because on the 4th of July, he got a 24-hour bug or something, and we had to take him home before he could see the fireworks.
Just as the fireworks. But we were having a good time before that. We had ice cream or shaved ice, and
Yeah.
we went and saw the symphony, and they sounded fantastic. And
At one point, your husband starts going like this. What's that? Your husband's like, what's that smell? I'm like, what are you talking about? We don't know what he's talking about. My son, Frank Jr., and I are there talking to James, and he just, all of a sudden, it's just like everything stops, comes grinding to a halt. And he's like, he smells something, and well, do you remember what happened? Were you there? Did you see this part?
I do remember what happened. I can't believe it.
He's her husband.
I know. He had been walking our dog previously to when we left, and cleaned up after her and put the poo in his pocket and forgot to throw it away. So he's over here going, what smells bad?
By the way,
something is
It was one of the
really-
hottest 4th of Julys on record. It was 96 degrees
It was warm.
about then, at that
Yes.
time of day. Yeah, so he has it cooking in his pocket.
for probably at least an hour. I mean, he's just now starting to smell it. He pulls it out. He's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
It's
Well, that
me.
was relatively early on. And then as the day progresses, we had all the nice treats. And I love that lawn, and I love it. They got
great.
the stage set up with the food trucks all around
Yeah.
it. And the symphony used to perform on this, I guess they call it the performance lawn. And then meanwhile, there's a whole other festival happening simultaneously. It's part of the same event, but it feels like two different festivals practically.
Very expensive.
On the other lawn, expansive, right?
Yes.
Because that's how we say expensive in the north. Oh, it's so expansive.
It's a free, expansive event.
But the symphony, they moved them into the actual Tennessee Amphitheater, which is someplace where you've performed at least 2 operas that I can remember, and you're going to do Pagliacci there again.
Yeah, it's a great space.
In next June. Well, the symphony show is in there, and it really is actually an improvement. But you have to pick up off the lawn and go sit in there if you want to watch the show. So we all did that, but it was way hotter in there than I thought it was going to be.
There was no airflow.
Granted, we were up in the upper deck, or the highest level, so the heat is rising toward us. That might have made it worse than if we had been down the bottom, but it was uncomfortable. But the show starts, and Aram Demirjian comes out with his white shirt, and he's so crisp, and his hair is just, everything is, he's so ready. And he's excited about it. He's a great conductor. And one of the things he does when he conducts the choral society is he's a former choral singer himself, so he really conducts the singers the same as he would conduct the musicians, but he does it with his face, and he's mouthing the words.
He knows all the words. When we did Beethoven's Ninth, and I was one of the soloists, he knew every single word. Yeah,
he's got it all in his head. I mean, this is his livelihood, and it's his passion, and he studies those scores, and he marks them up for months in advance. But yeah, he really does. Like for Handel's Messiah, he expects them, at least for the Hallelujah Chorus, to be 100% off book because they should know it.
Right.
And that's meaning that the choir should put their books down for that part of the production, and they do that one at the Clayton Holiday Show. They do it in their shortened version of Messiah at the beginning of Advent. They do it multiple times throughout the course of the season.
But they sing it a lot.
Well, it's the time for the show to begin. It's going to begin with the national anthem. So the orchestra stands up, which is the cue that we should all stand up. So that must be. Is that hard to play standing? I guess if you're in a marching band, it's no big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're a violinist, it looks weird.
No, you know what? Stand and play all the time.
Mariachi bands.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of the players, I guess, can't stand. Cello players.
Well, it would be harder for a cello player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that Woody Allen movie where he's plays cello in a marching band?
No, but that would be amazing.
Because he has to. Has a chair, and what he does is he has to run ahead, sit down the chair. And he's just about ready to play a note or two.
And then pick up the chair.
And the band has now proceeded past him. I don't even remember what movie it's from. It's just they used to show that clip on comedy compilation shows.
That's
all the time.
great. But they should have just put the chair on wheels.
That would have made sense. Anyway. A wheelchair. Well, Frady is standing next to me, and your husband's on the other side of you. Mm-hmm. And I guess Artie is with us. And Aram turns around, and now he's going to conduct us with, the national anthem, "Oh, Say Can You See." And we're doing fine. Obviously, you've sung the national anthem a time or two.
A time or two.
You need to go. I need to hear you at a baseball game and a hockey game. I've heard you at a hockey game, but a few more of these things, especially when the new stadium opens.
Right?
I know. April 15th, man, new stadium downtown Knoxville.
Yeah.
Well, of 2025. So it gets to the end of the anthem. And you start hitting the high notes, right?
Well, he made this gesture.
Who, Aram?
Aram. And...
What's the gesture?
They gesture to go up, right? So, because you start... Anytime you sing the national anthem, I mean, even this would happen in, church choir a lot, too, that the conductor, if you get to the last note, but then all of a sudden he's like, let's hold it longer and let's take it up a fifth or whatever and sing a higher, version of this that's going to fit within the chord still. And so I would get this cue quite often in choir where it's like, okay, we've hit the note, now let's go up higher. Kathryn, go. And Aram sort of did this because one of the instruments was clearly going to take it up.
Yeah.
And so he gives them the cue, but I took it as well. So.
Well, and because I am now convinced, because multiple guys especially older guys, guys, and I always judge, are they older than me or younger than me? So if guys who I would estimate were older than me were sitting in the seats near us, do the head turn.
They all turned around.
I'm doing this way, because in reality, the guy was sitting over there, and he whips around, because now he's looking at you, and I'm seeing the look on his face with the wide eyes. But then I look down, and Aram has got this look of, with one eyebrow up, and he's kind of looking up in our vague area.
He's like, who just sang that? Hi.
So I enjoyed that very, very much, that that you got the attention. And poor Artie wanted to do our own fireworks, because he felt like it got ripped off on 4th of July fireworks-wise, but we tried to tell him, just burn money, just take cash and burn it. If you want to buy your, we don't need to buy fireworks, especially down here relative to what he could buy, where his family usually goes to upstate New York on 4th of July.
Okay.
And he was like, well, when's the parade? We always go to the parade on 4th of July. And again, his whole life, he's 10.
Right.
So his tradition is to go to a parade and go to fireworks. So that morning we took him to the Farragut Parade, which was blazing hot, and we probably didn't help us. And then
he ate a lot of candy that they threw.
You see all that candy? See, there's a whole bag of candy up there that he left here, and we didn't to let him take it because I think he got sick from eating too much candy
and
being out in the heat and having the Dr. Pepper and all the things that I let him do. Grandpa was a bad grandpa on the 4th of July because he was sick by the end of the night and was knocked out for the next day too. But then he bounces right back, of course, after that.
Sure.
But I'll take the heat for letting him have too many sweets and et cetera, et cetera. But he wanted to do a firework of some kind. And he kept saying he wants a Roman candle, a Roman candle. And I'm like, Roman candle?
I don't even know what a Roman candle is.
It's, I think, like a bottle rocket type thing where it shoots up in the air. And we're just joking with him and saying, well, that's not even our country. And my wife comes up with the best joke. She says, instead of a Roman candle, we'll get you a Yankee candle.
There we go.
He's like, what's a Yankee candle? And she says, it offers the smell of disappointment. The scent of disappointment. Here's your Yankee candle, 10-year-old. I mean, exactly. So, one more thing I'll mention before I do the commercial is I was on the phone with you. I don't know where you were, but it doesn't matter because I was on the road driving to Northern Virginia. So maybe we had done the Zoom call in the car.
Perhaps, yeah.
Or we were communicating on the Facebook Messenger with the other people in the group. Whatever reason it was, you asked if anyone had seen your new Kathryn Frady website. What's the domain?
KathrynFrady.com.
Oh, okay, because you used to have one that had the word soprano in there too. I thought.
It's all at KathrynFrady.com.
All right, so that's the one. So I look it up, right? I'm looking at it. And I'm in the front seat. And at this point, now we've traded out Artie and we're taking Timmy and Charlie up to Virginia. And they're looking over at the seat and asking, Grandpa, who's that lady? Who's that lady on your phone? I said, that's no lady, that's my Frady. And they don't know what I'm talking about.
That's hilarious.
So, it was pretty funny. We took those kids also to see a show at the Children's Museum of Oak Ridge.
Right.
And my wife was so excited because it was a music show with Oak Ridge High School students. Mm-hmm. And she thought it was going to be a choir show, and I thought it was going to be a choir show because I've heard their choir, and it's very good. Granted, when I heard it, none of the same people could possibly still be in it because it was more than 4 years ago, but it doesn't matter. And I thought, that'd be nice. And when we get there, it was actually all instrumental music. It was they did a string quartet and they did a little jazz trio, and it was very nice. But it was sponsored by this group at Oak Ridge High School called Tri-M, which apparently is like
some big music
fraternity, sorority, honor society. It's like Mu Theta, Mu Alpha, is the math version of it. Mm-hmm. So and so. So I tell Jere, I say, there's something called Tri-M, and my wife lights up. Tri-M? I was president of my Tri-M chapter. I'm like, what do you? Well, our 40th anniversary is coming up next year. I'm like, I've known you 40 years. And you've never mentioned to me once that you were in this Tri-M. And it's like, apparently now something has triggered this memory. It's like the most important thing. I've got to find my Tri-M pin. So she
didn't even know she had a Tri-M pin in the house.
She's searching the house trying to find a Tri-M pin, which she couldn't find, unfortunately. It's in a red box. I'm like, okay.
That's amazing.
It's somewhere in here.
Well, you got to keep some secrets. Keeps you on your toes.
I don't know if it was a secret on purpose or just she assumed I didn't care. But
I think she probably told you and you just were talking and didn't hear it.
Have you and she been conversing?
Always.
That sounds exactly like something she would say. Well, I hope that you'll go to bonezones.com, don't forget the S, and get autographed merchandise by Dr. Bill Gabass. Like he'll sign a skull, he'll sign a book, He'll sign a T-shirt. He'll sign a hat. Some of the stuff, I don't know why you would need him to sign the hat. It really wouldn't do you much good. You want to wear the hat and have the book signed.
Yeah. Especially the one, Death's Acre, with
this
his
is
photo on the back.
A favorite of mine because it's the nonfiction origins of the Body Farm when he and John Jefferson first met up and first did a show for the National Geographic Channel and then turned it into this book. And that gave John the idea to write fiction books, kind of inspired by Patricia Cornwell, who had, created the name The Body Farm in her books. And, she and Dr. Bass have an actual history together. So you can read about that. Dr. Bass's 96th birthday is coming up at the end of August, which means I need to go. Every year I bring him some kind of little present.
Nice.
Last year I brought him apple butter that Megan made while she was here. The year before, maybe a bundt cake, and the year before that, fig jam that Jere had made. Yeah. So I got to figure something out and bring it over there. But you can find all this at bonezones.com. Don't forget the S. And if you want, you can also use that website to ask Susan there if you want to have me come give a speech with actual audio clips of Dr. Bass and all the same slides of the people decomposing.
I'm plugging my ears.
I've done the slideshow for a few groups, and this one lady who saw it twice. I said, "You sure? Were you grossed out by it the first time?" She's like, "Yeah, I was, but the other people won't be. So make sure you show them all again."
Oh my!
We want to see the decomp
Bring
pictures.
my blindfold.
Yeah. So that's at bonezones.com. Don't forget the S.
Speaking of books and fiction, you reminded me that I need to send an email back to Missy Barnett's.
Oh, Missy Barrett.
Barrett's.
Yes. Oh, she wants to have she wants to include Marble City Opera in an upcoming Missy Barrett mystery.
Yes.
So that would be fun.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
I was really excited about that, and it's just gotten too low in my inbox. I think.
Well, no, I think also is that timing-wise, I'm supposed to contact her about coming to record an episode here of Frank and Friends. And we're talking about Elise Bruce, who writes the Missy Barrett books. She and her husband Thomas have other things coming up that are kind of fall-oriented. They kind of take a little slow, I think. I mean, she writes every day, so I don't know how slow they take it. But they have a lot of activities that happen during the school year because she's involved in the library over there in Sevierville and the after-school programs. And so they have stuff that happens, up through May. And then stuff that happens in September again, like Halloween-related things.
Oh, okay, nice.
And then she and her husband also do some stuff that is not kid-oriented. She becomes E.B. Bruce or whatever she uses her initials instead of Elise, whatever her middle name is. And she's a adult mystery writer or thriller writer with her husband. They kind of write horror stories.
Oh, interesting.
And they independently of one another, but they both write them. And they have anthology books and things like that.
Nice.
So it sounds like a commercial for them, but I'm excited about it. But she wants to come over and do a cooking segment or a baking segment, or just bring me cookies, I think.
I mean, bringing cookies is always great.
And then have Thomas come back on and talk about the horror anthology. So if you're watching
cookies
this,
and horror.
Elise and Thomas, we're good to go.
We're excited.
I just need please contact me with dates that you're available, because that seems to work.
It does.
I get a text from Mitch Moore, who's been in he's been in Yellowstone.
Nice.
He's actually going to Iceland next year. He's doing all the traveling every which way. And I get a text from him saying, "Hey, I'm available next week." I'm like, "Oh, thank goodness." Please come over. And the same with you. You said, "Hey, what about so-and-so, such and such day? Do you want to do a podcast on that day at that time?" I'm like, "Yes."
And done. Basta.
That's all I needed. I will have everything set up. Everything will be all taken care of.
Well, you know what I am really excited about?
What?
Is the cathedral concert.
Oh, we forgot to mention that.
Marble City Opera is going to get to do on September 8th.
I go to these cathedral concerts at Sacred Heart, the Cathedral of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus. And that's for the church I go to anyway, but I love these concerts.
Yeah, we've been, and I've emailed Glenn several times, in the past, and, but then got that invitation to that wonderful organ.
Oh, when they got
dedication.
They finished, when they first opened the cathedral, they had maybe about a third of the organ pipes. Well, these generous donors said, "All right, we're going to write the check, and you're going to put in the rest of it in time for Easter." Mm-hmm. And every day between Christmas and Easter, They were closed the church weekdays, moved the masses into another building so they could get those pipes installed, and it's great.
It is glorious. But, you know, it was really nice. He invited me to the reception, and they had all these posters of these different organizations who performed at the Cathedral Concert Series, and Glenn came up to me and said, "Where's Marble City Opera?"
Yeah, where?
And I was like, yes, let's do it. So we are.
So you made it happen.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed the one that we went to just a few weeks ago, Grit and Glitz.
Yeah.
This was really good.
William Schaub, who's the concertmaster of the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra, put together, I'll call it a quintet because the piano, Kevin Klass piano, is normally
there,
is involved in this record. That's I'm in the business. We call everything's a record. Where it doesn't matter if it's a CD or a tape.
I mean, it was a record release.
Yeah.
But it's on a CD.
And you got one?
I
obviously.
did, and got it signed.
Jere got one too.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he and some of these other string players from the KSO and Kevin Klass, the pianist, have done this with new compositions and some classics on there.
Yeah, Dosha McKay, one of our local composers here in Knoxville, she has a composition.
She was there.
And actually, her composition is the one called Grit and Glitz.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and that was a great piece. I really enjoyed it.
So they did this concert in the cathedral, and they stream it live on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And you really, as you're there, I can see your mind working. Because you're thinking, because you're planning out when I do this Marble City event, I'm trying to pretend I'm you. You're looking at, who would stand where, what would happen then.
I really wasn't doing any of that, but.
I'm giving you too much credit, is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, I was just really inspired by the ensemble's musicality and also just how much fun that they were having together. Yeah. And you could really tell from their energy that they were excited to make music.
Yeah.
And they worked really, really well together, and they definitely had like a very special chemistry.
That's nice.
And so that's, I was talking to Josh Ulrich about that afterwards.
He played viola in this concert that we attended.
Yes, and he plays violin for Marble City Opera. So.
Isn't that something? I can put a link to that concert in the description if you want to watch it.
You should.
Because it's still available on YouTube. So September 8th, which is, I think, an amazing that you happen to get September 8th as the date for your Marble City Opera concert. It's called Faith, Hope, and Love, and it's free admission, but they ask that you go on Eventbrite and reserve a seat because they want to know, the cathedral holds 900 to 1,000 people, so they need to have some idea. And there have been shows in the past where they get close to that number and they tell everybody, don't come. We've got more RSVPs than we can handle.
Right.
So they announce it as a sold out free show. So do RSVP and tell us if you're coming. I'll put that link in the description too. But September 8th happens to also be the anniversary of the diocese.
You know what it's also the anniversary of?
What?
Queen Elizabeth passing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mark and Brian's first day on KLOS. Because it's one of those dates that I happen to have in my head.
That's hilarious.
I did not know that it was Queen Elizabeth's death day.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, well, yeah. All right. How about that?
How about
It's also, the church celebrates it as the birthday and the nativity of Mary.
Yes.
Which is 9 months after the Immaculate Conception, because that all math all works out. And the Pope John Paul II created the Diocese of Knoxville officially on that day.
Oh, that's exciting.
So that's kind of a big deal.
It is. It's kind of great.
We're going to do a show.
We're going to do a show.
We're going to sing a song.
Now, if somebody could tell me and direct me where to get a CD player so that I can actually play my signed CD, that would be fabulous.
Well, do you have a DVD player?
Yes.
Do you watch DVDs at home?
I can, yeah.
Have you, you just...
It's set up so that I can watch DVDs.
See if that'll play your CD.
Okay.
Try putting it in there, because I think it might work.
I'll research before I don't want to ruin it or scratch it up. There's a signed album release.
Well, they didn't. Let's see. I'm pretty sure.
Kind of special.
I'm pretty sure. Can you play a CD in? And I don't even know. I didn't even have to finish typing it. I got as far as can you play a C? And,
well, they've been listening to us.
Oh, sure. Yes, many DVD players can play audio CDs as well as DVDs. When a CD is inserted into a DVD player, the audio will play through the television speakers. Most DVD players will recognize the CD as a DVD disc and play the story. Okay.
Mine's a very inexpensive DVD player.
All right. Well, but those are the people most likely to need
a CD. Yeah, to use it as a CD player also.
And if that
Good
fails,
story.
we probably somewhere around here have a Walkman. Actually, you
Yeah.
know what? Those might not even work anymore.
Right.
We have had so many CDs, still have so many CDs that we
Same.
had, we'll put them in books to bring in cars and on car trips. We had CD players in all the cars.
Yeah, like those cases that you could put all of the CDs into one location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a point because I don't really know exactly how we're going to listen to Jere's copy of it either, but I guess we'll put it in the DVD player and see if it works.
I mean, I do have a record player, see, so or maybe the CD players will come back as like a vintage cool thing to
I
own.
read an article somewhere that of all the hipsters who buy albums on vinyl, the overwhelming majority of them report that they've never listened to them on the vinyl. Yeah, they buy the vinyl and they think it's cool to buy it and have it and collect it.
That's interesting.
But they either don't have their record player hooked up or they don't go to the bother of actually listening to it, because it is a bother. I mean, to get out a record and, if you're going to do it properly, in the old days we used to have these brushes. You would start the record going and you would put this brush on there and it would collect the dust, and then you'd have to clean the brush and do it again.
Yeah, I think the new record players are a little more sophisticated than that.
I think less. I think they're going for the lo-fi sound.
Oh yeah.
They don't care if you hear the dust and the scratches and the pops. I think that's part of
it.
Yeah, that's why the whole idea. I didn't know what lo-fi was, and I listened to a lo-fi. I was actually looking for. It was on Instagram. Some music to go with an Instagram story, and it said the kind of song that I wanted, but it was lo-fi version. And I listened to it, like, this is garbage. This is everything in my entire career up to this point would be thumbs down and reject that version, because you couldn't put that on the radio. If your record, and we used to play records on the radio, had degraded to not even to that level, of course, but even if you'd gotten partly to the way to that level, you would throw out the record and get a new one.
Wow.
You call the record company and say, hey, we burned through our copy of Michael Jackson's Thriller, we need a new one. That's why you would put everything on cartridge. Cartridges look like an 8-track tape, but they only fit one song on them. So you look at the side of the cartridge, and it says, this is a 3.5 minute cartridge.
That's a lot of cartridges.
4.5, 5.5, and we would have them stacked. And when you go to do your radio show, you would have a stack of 12 to 14 of these carts, and you'd have to manually start them.
Wow.
That's why DJs had a job. That was you were jockeying in the old days the discs, then these carts.
Wow.
And I worked for a radio station. Bean was the music director. He was known as Flash Phillips, and they would take the record. So you'd have the Michael Jackson album and the Madonna Like a Virgin, and we'd get a nice clean copy of it, and they'd put it on the record player. And the record player was adjusted to play, I think it was 3% faster.
Interesting.
They would goose it up 3 to 4%, I think it was. I think that's all it was.
Does that change like the quality of the voice and everything?
It was just, not really.
Okay.
Because there's another way you can. There's another trick you can do where you speed up the recording, but you also simultaneously, and you do this with the computer more likely, pitch it down so that I can do that. If I need to record a 30-second commercial and I keep hitting it at 31 or 32, I can speed it up so that it fits into 30 seconds, but also pitch down the tone of my voice so you can't tell that I've sped it up.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
But in this case, we are literally just speeding up the song and then recording onto the cart. You'd have to have that all set, and you have the cart in the record mode, and you'd have to put the needle down, and you'd hold on to the edge of the record, and then you let go of the record and start the tape recording at the same time, because it was a felt turntable that's moving underneath. So as soon as you take your finger off the record, it's going to start moving at full speed.
Sure.
And then you hit the button, and they've started recording this cartridge at a sped up record of 4% faster. The psychology of it was people used to say, oh, they do that so they can squeeze in more commercials. Not really. I mean, 4% of an hour is what? I mean, what are you going to, it's not going to squeeze in any more time. We don't care about that. The psychology of it was so that if you listen to Like a Virgin or Thriller or Billie Jean or whatever the song was on the other station, it just doesn't sound right to you. Because granted, they're playing it correctly at the correct speed, but like lab rats on crack, you get hooked on
the faster version,
and that becomes what
Wow.
So the
That's
psychology
insane.
of it is that you automatically will prefer the faster version, and
crazy.
and stick to the station that makes
That
you
plays
feel
them
better.
faster.
Subconsciously makes you feel better, and you don't know why.
That's such a cheating. So how do you do that now, like in the digital world?
When we switched to CDs at WAVA, when CDs first came out, we were slow to adapt to them because they were waiting until some company came out with a variable speed CD player. And somebody did, and it was relatively short order, so they put these CD players in the studio, and they just goosed them all up. They were taken off.
I did the same thing.
But it was manually right there in the studio, so sometimes some DJ would mess it up, and they would be playing too slow or too fast. And because some DJs have big, fat, fumbly fingers, so the engineers would get furious about this, so they have to take the machine apart and set it to 4% faster, and then disconnect the controls.
So they couldn't
So it doesn't matter. You can hit the button, hit the slider. It was a slider.
It's always going to do the same
and it doesn't matter whether you had it at 0 or 100. It is always going to play at 4% faster because the DJ was not trusted. So
amazing.
that was how they did it. And then in a computer, I mean, I can show you over there. It's a piece of cake. You can speed up anything.
So do your competitors then like speed it up? Like an extra
5%.
5%.
Probably in the old top 40 wars, it wouldn't surprise me if that happened. But there is a limit, and it gets to the point where if you speed it up any more than that, it doesn't sound right. Then it gets into chipmunk territory,
right?
And you have to do it so it's just enough. So you like that taste of it, but you can't understand why you like it.
That's cool.
It's like restaurants adding salt to everything.
I'm okay with that.
You don't taste all the salt, but you like it better.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
Yeah, so anyway, there's a little radio behind the scenes. I didn't mean to get on that jab, but
No, I'm glad you did. That was really fascinating.
I've been thinking about it. I also, speaking of free concerts, with you at the Cathedral on September 8th, I thought of you when we took Artie to the Mighty Musical Monday.
I love Mighty Musical Monday.
At the Tennessee Theater. I didn't tell him what to expect.
Okay.
I told him there's going to be the organ.
Right.
So at the beginning of the show, the Wurlitzer, the Mighty Wurlitzer, comes up on the pit elevator.
Yep.
So it comes up on the pit elevator, and the music has started, and there's Freddie, playing the blah, blah, blah. And it's it's kind of old timey and cheesy, like a baseball stadium.
Oh, it's great.
But it is great. I didn't tell him that in the middle of the show, or he thinks the show's over because the organ's going back down in the pit. But then the curtain opens, and here is this 3-piece rockabilly band playing just other fun songs. They were playing actually Beach Boys, Chuck Berry.
Nice.
And he loved it. He thought it was very exciting. And he was surprised by it because it happens all of a sudden as the curtain just opens and there they are. Well, I was looking forward to it. I remember you sung there.
I have, yeah, several times.
Oh, really? I emceed it once or twice. They used to ask...
That's right, they did. Used to ask different radio hosts and
news
television anchors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. To be the MC. I don't think they do that anymore. I guess because it's too hard to to find people willing to do it for free. Yeah. But I think it was Becky Hancock from the Tennessee Theater is the MC. She did it herself.
Nice.
But I was teasing my wife, saying, I'm going to feel like I'm the youngest person. Granted, we're bringing a 10-year-old, so I'm not literally the youngest person at the Mighty Musical Monday. But you're looking around, and it was July 1st, so there's a few other kids there too for the holiday, and they play the national anthem and everything. But for the most part, they're bussing them in from
the retirement homes.
It's a lovely afternoon. Yeah. It's a 1 hour, noon to 1, the first Monday of the month.
Yeah.
And I said to Jere, I know I'm not exactly the youngest person here, but I do really seriously wonder how many people in this audience over the time have died of natural causes during the show.
Oh, no, don't wonder that.
Well, she hit me. She's like, don't say that.
Don't wonder that. That's terrible.
How dare you? How dare you say that?
No, music heals you. It doesn't kill you.
That's a good point. Good point. There were no stretchers. There was no ambulances. Everybody managed to get themselves out of the theater. of their own power, own volition. Everybody was fine. The buses were lined up when I got out there. The little short buses, they were all lined up in front of the theater when I left.
My favorite thing, honestly, is singing at Mighty Musical Monday, and then they put your name in lights on the Tennessee Theater.
Ooh, that's nice.
Pretty fun.
That's good times. Well, I had my own senior moment recently. I was trying to running out of the house, looking for my sunglasses. And usually I keep them... Were they
on your head?
Well, that's when I get into trouble, is because I usually keep them in the car. But I do, when I'm pulling into the garage, I'll put them up on my head because I'm trying to see the garage is dark.
Sure.
Even though you're coming out of the bright light, going into the dark garage, I want to make sure I've got to park so far over that leaves room for Jere's car. And she always says to me, "How come you park so far over?" I'm like, "Because if I don't, you complain about the other." When she goes to drive my car, she's like, "There's no room to get in." I'm like, "I know." That's how close to the wall.
That's what I've been telling you.
I have to park in order. In order for your car to fit.
I climb in through the passenger seat.
So I probably have walked into the house with the glasses on my head, and you would assume that I would set them down on this table or maybe on the kitchen island.
Sure.
But I'm looking all over the house for them, and we gotta go. It's time to go, and they're prescription sunglasses, so I can't just grab, just another pair.
You need to see.
This is the ones that I need. And finally, I just think, I guess I'll look upstairs. I run upstairs, probably to brush my teeth or who knows what else. And there are the sunglasses sitting on my nightstand on top of a book titled Thinking Clearly.
Perfect.
Yeah. By John Mark Miravalli. I'm like, I need to read that book. I'm only one chapter in. So I brought the book downstairs so I would read it at night.
But then you forgot where you put it.
No, I know where it is. Yeah.
It's in the car. Oh, that's
We
great.
took some of the kids to Waffle House because I think Artie likes going to Waffle House, but so do Timmy and Charlie. Everyone wants to go to Waffle House, right? While they're here. Sure. Which actually we took Artie to Holly's because we thought he's old enough now to appreciate going to Holly's.
Did he enjoy it?
Yeah, he ordered. He's of the bunch of them, he's the pickiest eater. Okay. But he wolfed down the eggs and bacon, which is like, oh, good. That's all I really care about. But he didn't touch either the waffle or the pancake that he got. He brought it home and then was kind of picking at it, throughout the week. But it was he ordered too much food. It was ridiculous.
Right.
The fact that they brought him to all this,
he's little.
an adult-sized breakfast for a 10-year-old. But he ate the protein, which is what I cared about. So we bring the other two, I guess we bring them to Waffle House, and they're voracious. They wolf down all the eggs, all the bacon, all the waffles, all the everything. And I decided at Waffle House I would get bacon and egg sandwich.
Okay, nice.
Which is not, it's pretty good. Usually I get an omelet with the jalapenos, but bacon and egg sandwich. Well, this waiter, Eric, says to me, he leans in and goes, "Are you a mayonnaise eater?" I'm like, what? What?
Who leans into you?
Eric, the Waffle House waiter.
Okay,
hey,
the waiter. Okay.
Are you a mayonnaise eater? Because I guess a lot of people are grossed out by mayonnaise. My sisters are grossed out by mayonnaise.
I'll eat it, but I don't want to know I'm eating it.
I used to, because I knew it grossed them out.
Yeah.
Would get a spoonful of mayonnaise and eat it off the spoon in front of them because it grossed them out.
Yeah.
It's just eggs and oil.
Yeah, but it's just the texture.
Well, there's a Mater sandwich is with, white bread, Granger County tomato, some salt, and some mayonnaise. That's a sandwich. That's delicious.
It's like a cucumber sandwich or
well, a BLT, you need some mayo. Turkey sandwich the day after Thanksgiving, you need mayo.
Or a butter sandwich. Did you ever have those?
I've heard of a butter face.
It's just bread and butter, legitimately.
Oh, I've eaten that, not realizing what it was called. Yeah. Well, the guy leans in and says, "Are you a mayonnaise eater?" And I am. So I said, yeah. He said, "Oh, you got to try the Waffle House sauce." I'm like, "What do you mean the Waffle House sauce?" Well, it's mayonnaise based. And, a Chick-fil-A sauce has their own sauce. I did not know that Waffle House had their own sauce. And he says, it's got some chipotles in there or whatever it is, got a little spice to it. Which, maybe my spice level standard is a little higher than Waffle House spice standard. I didn't notice it being particularly spicy.
Gotcha.
But it had some nice flavor to it. So I thought it was nice. And I put it on my egg sandwich. And he's all excited because now, here he's made my day, right? He's going to get a bigger tip.
Yeah.
he brings me additional packets of Waffle House sauce.
Nice.
Would you like one?
No.
Okay. Because one of them survived the ride home.
Just one?
I had on my fancy breeches things. I almost wore them today. My new shirt garters that pull my shirt down.
Oh, fancy.
Right?
Yeah.
But they go up the side of your leg, and they've got these clamps. They're like suspenders, but they're inside your pants.
Yeah.
You can't see them.
Women have been wearing those kinds of things for years.
All right.
Yeah.
So then one that you put on the back and on the front and down the side of your legs that clip onto your socks. We're just after church. I've got on my shirt garters.
Yep.
Got on nice pants, nice shirt. The guy gives me some Waffle House sauce packets. And I'm feeling I got my phone in this pocket, I got my wallet in this pocket. I'm like, okay, thanks. I actually took a napkin and I wrapped them around.
Good.
And I stuck them in this pocket. Don't think about it again. Get in the car, drive home, come walking into the house, and it just doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right.
Oh no.
I should point out that this is kind of like a rust brown colored sauce.
Great.
It's kind of a.
That's fantastic.
It's kind of a.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what it's just it's like darker than a mustard.
It's like a maroon.
Yeah, maybe.
Almost. Yeah.
It's definitely an unpleasant color.
Yeah.
But it's it's for the flavor, right? Not for the color.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, because most people don't put them in their back pocket.
Right, and there's a reason for that. Because I must have had 4 packets in there. And sure enough, I have popped them to the point where I think I better get these out of my pocket. I reach in, and of course my pocket is just gooey with Waffle House sauce, and I pull them out, and I'm rinsing them off actually, and squeezing them and seeing which ones have
explode and which one.
So I saved the one that survived. But then I figure I better go into the bathroom and check, and I look inside my drawers, and of course it's soaked through the pocket, and then I realize it's soaked through the shirt.
Oh my goodness.
And then
at least you were coming home.
It was down to flesh. It made it through.
That's amazing.
It made it through pants. It made it through shirt. It made it through underwear. That's why I felt it.
That is a strong sauce. So maybe the spice level is a little higher.
That could be the title of this episode. That is a strong sauce. And on that happy note, we'll wrap it. Encouraging you to go to audibletrial.com/Frank and Friends Show if you enjoy audio entertainment of any kind. They've got all sorts of audiobooks, tens and tens of thousands of them, and also podcasts like this, new content constantly coming out, and custom audio entertainment made exclusively for that platform. When you join via our link, you get the first 30 days absolutely free, including your free MP3 credit for a download. That's a premium membership. Get that every month. And you can be a premium member for the first month for free by using our URL. And if anytime after that you want to cancel, up to you. But they're confident that you're going to keep it rolling so that you can always listen to something new when you're driving about. We also appreciate your shopping with us at frankandfriendsshow.com/store, where you can find the beach towel, where you can find the pint glass, where you can find the t-shirts, where you can find
mugs,
the hoodie.
Cases, the hoodies.
Oh, the hoodies.
The hoodies are fabulous.
That's right.
Great quality.
I need to this one. I mean, it hasn't been cold enough. Actually, it's so cold in this house, I should just start wearing it.
There you go. Just
My wife gets mad because I'll turn up turn
down.
I guess well, what do I do?
Down.
I make the temperature warmer when she's at work.
Oh.
Because I'm freezing.
Yeah.
And then she'll it's so hot. She'll go upstairs. It's so hot up here. I'm like, well, come downstairs. It's cold. It's freezing down here. But anyway, I love this hoodie. I can start wearing this around the house.
There you go.
During the air-conditioned days, or certainly during the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Find that online, and tell your friends. Subscribe on YouTube. Now that we've got 1,000 subscribers, the goal is to get some
1,500?
insane number of viewing hours.
Okay.
So we might have to start doing people do these live shows so they can get, just to rack up their numbers.
Right.
Like the successful YouTube channels, they go on and do a live once a week, only because it jacks up the numbers. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to play that game yet, but it's something to think about.
I mean, because now we can do it live on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So we can
That's true. We hit the threshold.
Instead of recording, we can just go live.
Imagine that. We could have been live this whole time.
Could have been live.
And I wouldn't
Next
have
time.
to. I wouldn't have to edit it.
See? Saves time, gets more viewing hours.
And by editing, all I'm
Success.
doing really is putting in the letters on the bottom.
Well, that's up to you.
Well, sometimes I stick in photos and.
That's right, you do. And links, and you promised a lot of links.
Oh. We gotta go. I gotta get to work. This is the Frank and Friends show. I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
And I'll talk to you again. You're here.
We'll talk to you again.
Next time. Oh, you are coming back.
Of course.
When?
Soon.
You want to book it now?
Yeah.
All right, we gotta go.